speaking of schemes, speaking of coaches, Raheem Morris, Joe Woods, Gus Bradley have been interviewed for the job. 3 guys only. Jim Schwartz still under contract with the Browns. It doesn't seem like he's going to stay there though, but getting him might be a little bit more complicated, or I don't know. What do you guys think? Who are you rooting for to get? Clearly Gus Bradley, right?
No, Joe freaking Woods, man. Let's go. Grant, I didn't
No.
even know who Joe Woods was. I had to
Yep.
text you. I'm like, yo, who's Joe? I didn't even know. I don't know if that's bad on my part. I had no clue who that guy was. I've never heard of Joe Woods before.
If you've never heard of Joe Woods, he was on the Niners staff for 1 year in 2019. He was their like defensive pass game coordinator, DB specialist. Did a good job. A lot of people thought he was instrumental because that was Salah's best year. And Joe Woods came there, and it was like he immediately got a DC job in Cleveland, and then was fired 2 years later, and then went to New Orleans and was fired 2 years later, and then so yeah, that's Joe Woods.
I think it's got to be Raheem Morris. Out of those three, like Brandon says, Gus the Fossil Bradley. That guy's schemes haven't worked in a while. And Raheem Morris, like I understand, only reason Raheem Morris was like a great defensive coordinator was because he was on the Rams and it was Aaron Darnold. But still had a great year that year. Only guy I know on that list is Raheem Morris. I don't like Gus Bradley because he's old, and then Joe Woods I've never heard of before in my life, so I don't even know.
Well, I'm glad the term's starting to get some traction.
That's a Fossil Bradley. I like it.
Yeah, it's not because he's old. I think it's because his scheme is like from the
He's
NFL.
pretty old, no?
Yeah, but like I think it's more so his scheme is old. Like the Legion of Boom type of like scheme that he was running that changed the league is like so 2010 to 2015. Like he hasn't called good defense in a decade plus. Like if they got Gus Bradley and they did the cheap way, like the Nick Sorensen thing, I actually think he'd be worse than Nick Sorensen. I'm not even kidding. I think the 49ers would win 6 to 8 games if they promote Gus Bradley. Like he doesn't have the personnel to really, and he's not smart enough with his schemes now with the personnel that the Niners have and the lack of depth, even if they draft guys or sign guys to make like, if you look at the stats, they couldn't defend the run wherever he was DC the last like 2 times, right? With the Colts, and I forgot where he was before, but he couldn't. In Jacksonville, he was the head coach, right? A long time ago.
He was with the Rams, he was with the Chargers. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. So like they couldn't defend the run, any of his defenses. So that's the 49ers bread and butter, since they're never going to be an elite pass rush team. It feels like they just have Bosa and guys. They kind of have to stop the run for their defense to work. I mean, that's part of the reason why Steve Wilkes was fired. Like great pass defense, horrible against the run, right? So again, I don't know. I just don't think Gus Bradley. It's the lazy route. It's like the Browns hiring Todd Monken. It's like, why? I'd rather.
That's the biggest thing I don't like. I feel like them hiring Gus Bradley, that's just lazy.
That's lazy. Give Raheem Morris at
you
minimum.
Compared it to Nick Sorensen. To me, it's Nick Sorensen all over again. Like Nick Sorensen wasn't on the staff with Gus Bradley, but he went to the Seahawks in 2013 and he was there until 2020. Then he went to Jacksonville for a year. Like he is a lot like Gus Bradley, and they hired him for the same reasons, because he'd been there, because he knew the system, because the players liked him, and because he was in charge of a specific meeting. You guys remember this? He was in charge of the ball meeting, which was like getting the ball, protecting the ball. And Lombardi called him the czar of turnovers, as if he actually had the winning, he had the formula for how to get the ball and keep the ball. It was hilarious. And then he becomes the defensive coordinator and they stop creating turnovers altogether. It's like, oh, obviously it's the players and not this guy. It's not his little speech that he gave. So cut to the president. It's like, man, this guy gives great speeches the night before game. And he was in charge of the red zone defense where the Niners was really good. It's like, yo, I bet you promote him to defensive coordinator and watch the Niners have the worst red zone defense in the league. Get out of here. Grow up.
It's got to be Raheem.
It's got to be Raheem. Yeah.
Or Jim Schwartz. Like
those are the only two.
If they can find a way,
Jim Schwartz would be so badass.
Kyle was under contract with the Browns, right? And
yes.
They were some like 32-page thing that he came up with to get out of that contract or something. I'm sure they could find, if they really wanted to. And
I don't think they want to.
Yeah, I think that's the difference. I think Raheem Morris is Kyle's good friend. He loves Raheem Morris. Raheem Morris beat him in the NFC title game as a DC.
Kyle wants to coach with his friends. You can't convince me otherwise. The one time he tried to coach with a non-friend with Steve Wilkes, he was over that immediately. You get on the sideline. He was ready to fire Steve Wilkes. So he wants his friends with him, man. He's always wanted that. And Jim Schwartz isn't his friend. He might respect Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz is older than him. Jim Schwartz could, yell at him behind the scenes, disagree with him, show him up. He's never going to happen. Raheem Morris could happen because they are legit friends. Only thing is, Kyle is I don't understand. I've never heard of an offensive coach who has a scheme that he insists on for the defense. It's so strange, but he does. And Raheem Morris is more of like a 3-4 pressure guy than a 4-3, coverage guy. So Kyle would have to make some serious concessions and evolve, which would be great. But it's his friend. It could if he would do it for anyone, it'd be his friend.
Let's say if Raheem Morris gets hired, he has a great year. Do you think he leaves us to take a head coaching job, or
No.
I just want to?
He's already had two.
He's not going to be a head coach ever
I know.
again.
I want a defensive coordinator that's good to just stay with us. I hate when we get a good guy and then he leaves. I am tired of that.
Okay, here's a question. Would you rather have the best defensive coordinator available knowing he might leave in a year, or someone who's kind of mid who'd be here for as long as you want? Good question. It's a fair question.
I mean, probably
considering how old their core is, and Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle, and all the, they're going to become washed soon. Trent Williams. I'd rather have the DC that's elite that's going to leave in a year.
So Robert Saleh
figured out. Because to me, this is a desirable job. It seems like it keeps springboarding people to head coaching opportunities. Saleh twice, D'Amico once. I don't want Gus Bradley for 10 years, man. I want someone who's ambitious and 45, not 60. No offense to people who are 60.
Yeah, Raheem Morris. Look, Raheem Morris players also would die for that guy. He is universally loved by players. That's another thing, that I think works. And look what he did with Atlanta's defense this year. He got fired. He kind of got the short end of the stick. James Pierce developed immediately. Jalen Walker, his defense was incredible with the personnel he had. They had ball hawks. They were forcing turnovers at a high rate, which is what the Niners need. I don't know. I think it would work. I think he's been an overrated DC personally. He had prime Jalen Ramsey, prime Aaron Donald when he was the DC.
That is true.
The Rams. So he didn't really have to do much. But he's better than any other option besides Jim Schwartz.
Before we leave, I'm going to throw one more name out there, and then I want you guys to say on the record who your number one option is. Okay, so we got Morris, we got Schwartz. Schwartz is 59. I would love Schwartz. He'd be great. One more guy. What about Sean McDermott? That's a third name to throw in there. And again, he'd probably be a one and done type of dude, but pretty good defensive coach. So if you had your pick, money's not an option. I mean, no barrier. Whoever you want, you name him right now.
You go first, Mosh.
Are they all because Jim Schwartz is 50-50. Are they all the same right now? If I pick Jim Schwartz, he would come here?
Yeah, you get to choose.
I think it has to be Jim Schwartz then. It has to be Jim Schwartz.
I don't think it's particularly close. You're guaranteed a top 5 defense. This is a guy who's never going to be a head coach again.
No.
He's your Steve Spagnuolo if you want him.
Yep.
Exactly.
I agree. I will go Schwartz.
Raheem. I like also thing about Raheem, he brings energy to the sideline. There's that one Bucks game when he yelled at the camera. I like defensive coordinator, coaches that just do that. So
and you have to think about this too. He's not going to get another head coaching job.
No.
And if he ever does, if he stays 2+ years and he ever leaves, they get compensation. They get
true,
right? So
they like that.
They love that. They love
that.
Okay, let's take some super chats. Stewart says if we trade for Justin Jefferson and re-sign Jennings, it would be JJ and JJ. Sounds like a TV show. Yeah, they had that in Minnesota last year and it didn't work. No. It flopped. JJ to JJ didn't work. Just saying. Dave Edwards, I got it right the second time, says how is Kyle is a great coach, but in the same sentence list off all his deficiencies. He is the most protected head coach in NFL history.
He's the best, Dave.
Yeah, we all have to say that.
He's the greatest.
Otherwise we get trouble. Dimitrov says, man, get us Omar Cooper Jr.
He's so good. I need him.
Sean for the win says, I just want to say if Seattle wins in our stadium, we have been violated. Santa Clara is officially going to be the 13th man. It's
dude, why does the Super Bowl happen?
If Seattle wins in Santa Clara, you should just tear down Levi's in the third quarter. As soon as the game is over, just start tearing it down and moving back to San Francisco.
Grant, are you going to the game?
That's Seattle. That's Lumen South.
Grant, are you going to the game?
Yeah.
You're going to be in the press box.
Yeah.
You're so
Okay,
lucky.
I'll get a hot take. I think the Patriots are going to win.
I hope they do.
I actually kind of feel that way too because they have the best defense the Seahawks have seen in a minute. They have a better
And they have a
defense than the
great run
Niners and the Rams.
defense. What is
Yes.
Kubiak's offense predicated on? The run.
Plus, they got Gonzalez, who you can put on JSN, and that's a really good matchup for them.
And
That's
they've
gonna
got
be
Dude,
a
you're so
quarterback.
lucky, dude. You're going to the game. Lucky,
I'm
man.
picking up my
Look at you.
credential in like 2 hours. Hell yeah.
Let's go.
Smells like foot in here says if they trade Mac, they'll need to draft a quarterback. Considering Brock Purdy's injury history, I'd be curious to see who they take and how earlier in the draft. No, they
Diego
drafted Chris
Pavia.
Work last year. He kind of redshirted. That's their guy. They would need to sign a guy. And I'm telling you, man, Kirk Cousins,
No, you
Kyle
draft.
Shanahan have been talking about this day for years. And
You
I
draft
firmly
Diego
believe that
Pavia.
they're going to work together one more time before it's all said and done.
No, you draft Diego Pavia, 5'9",
You
160.
draft Carson back in round 4.
Let's get the youngest, the shortest quarterback room in the league. The retard to beat out this Raheem Morris going to be a fire scheme. Let him cook.